Weird photos from history with baffling backstories. Looks like you all like it. Today, share the world knowledge. Continuing the strange photo from history with amazing stories. Discover the weirdest photos ever taken in this collection of astounding animals, incredible inventions, and extraordinary events that are completely one of a kind. The Wildman Suit. To this day, the one-of-a-kind Wildman Suit sits on display in the McDonald collection in Houston, Texas. A double-layered set of armor coated from head to toe in 1-inch long, outward-facing iron nails, this suit remains as terrifying as it is mysterious. While it's widely referred to as Siberian bear hunting armor from the 1800s, others say it was used in the gruesome spectacle of bear baiting popular in Shakespearean England. But the true purpose of the Wildman Suit remains largely elusive centuries later. John Smith, the 137-year-old man. John Smith was a Chippewa Indian from Minnesota who claimed to live to 137 years old. Long before his death in 1922, the Chippewa people referred to him as Gabinagyunwans, or wrinkled meat, due to his starkly creased face. However, some say that his facial appearance was caused by disease and not age. Though his real age remains contested, his gravestone in Cass Lake, Minnesota still lists his birth year as 1784. The Isolator. Luxembourgish-American inventor and futurist Hugo Gernsback worked tirelessly to find all potential solutions to the inconveniences of modern life in the early to mid-1900s. He created everything from portable television goggles to the device seen here, which he aptly named the Isolator. Intended to block out all noise and allow users to properly concentrate, the contraption did prove to be oddly prescient. After all, using noise-canceling headphones is a popular method to block out the distractions of public places today. Nonetheless, the Isolator was far too bulky and inefficient to find success with the public when it debuted in 1925. When children were shipped in the mail. Believe it or not, there was a time when American children were sent through the mail. When the USPS's Parcel Post Service officially began on January 1, 1913, it allowed customers to ship large packages, including people, provided they weren't heavier than 11 pounds and were appropriately stamped. Fortunately, all children who were shipped arrived unharmed, and the USPS canceled this bizarre service after only about 2 years. But to this day, a collection of weird historical photos allow us to revisit this unusual time. The strange picture of A.L. Kahn's manta ray. In the summer of 1933, a man named A.L. Kahn was fishing off the coast of New Jersey when he landed this 20-foot-long, 5,000-pound manta ray. It took him, his mates, and the U.S. Coast Guard several hours and several dozen blasts from a gun to finally reel in this devil fish. As the St. Louis Post-Dispatch wrote at the time, it was a harrowing 3-hour struggle to decide whether the fishing party was capturing the fish, or the fish was capturing the boat and its 4 occupants. The woman who went over Niagara Falls in a barrel. While this may not look like a particularly weird historical photo at first glance, the story of Annie Edson Taylor is nothing if not astonishing. On October 24, 1901, her 63rd birthday, this very prim and proper New York schoolteacher became the first person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel and survive. She performed the stunt in hopes that it would bring in money with public appearances and memorabilia afterward. However, her manager soon made off with the barrel, which would have been a key prop for her appearances, and she never quite earned the windfall she'd sought. The original Ronald McDonald. If McDonald's still used the original Ronald McDonald depicted here, customers would probably lose their appetites before even placing their orders. This advertisement, shown in the Washington, D.C. market in 1963, saw actor Willard Scott portray the now world-famous clown in a way that some would say is much creepier than the version we know today. Vintage Circus Hippo. A circus hippo pulling a cart in 1924. These 3,500-pound beasts have notoriously been some of the most dangerous animals used in circus performances. In 2016, one escaped from a circus in Spain and got onto the surrounding roads, where it brought traffic to a standstill before being recaptured. Incidents like these have furthermore brought attention to the abuses suffered by animals like these in circuses around the world to this day. Office whiskey machines. While they never became widespread in offices around the US, people were seriously shopping this whiskey dispenser machine around at exhibitions in the 1950s and 1960s. This photo was taken in February 1960 at the second automatic vending exhibition in London, England. A strange photo of a policeman's portable holding cell. While this portable jail cell isn't too far off from our modern alternative, being handcuffed in the back of a police car isn't much different. After all, this motorcycle sidecar is something to behold. The one pictured here dates to the 1920s and was used in Los Angeles. Miss Atomic Bomb. Before the United States realized that celebrating nuclear explosions might not be the most sensitive thing in the world, the most dangerous weapon ever deployed inspired the Miss Atomic Bomb pageant. Held in Las Vegas, Nevada throughout the 1950s, the event saw showgirls like Lee Merlin, depicted here, compete for the title. In fact, with the American military's atomic bomb testing grounds only a few dozen miles away from Las Vegas, the city used mushroom clouds and the like in a number of tourism and marketing endeavors during the early Cold War era. Vintage Ice Mask. Designed by 1940s Hollywood makeup artist Max Factor Jr., this bizarre ice mask aimed to reduce facial puffiness. Factor believed actresses would jump at the product, whether to cool down between scenes or curb the results of a long night on the town. Unfortunately for him, they never did. Today, we're only left with weird photographs of the device like this one. Operation Babylift. As South Vietnam collapsed with the final stages of the Vietnam War in 1975, President Ford ordered the mass evacuation of Vietnamese orphans from Saigon. A massive northern Vietnamese offensive loomed, and time was of the essence. In the end, Operation Babylift saved more than 3,000 orphans. One of the weirdest pictures of the Punt Gun. The Punt Gun was so powerful that it was outlawed for being too effective. This comically large weapon was first built in the early 1800s as demand for ducks skyrocketed. Capable of killing 50 to 100 waterfowl with a single shot, it began to decimate duck populations. Fortunately, regulations instituted in the first 2 decades of the 20th century brought the reign of the punt gun to an end. Mummies for Sale. This weird historical photo depicts a street vendor selling mummies right outside of the Egyptian pyramids in 1865. Preserved human hands captured in this weird photograph. These bloated and disfigured hands reveal the chilling effects of gout. They were preserved by Dr. Thomas Dent Mutter, the renowned scientist who would later tragically suffer from the ailment himself. In addition to these hands, the doctor left behind a vast and disturbing collection of anatomical and pathological specimens. Much of it can still be seen today at the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. André the Giant meets a fan. French wrestler and actor André the Giant stood 7 feet and 4 inches tall and weighed in at 550 pounds. His staggering size helped make him a beloved icon throughout the 1970s and 1980s. This photo shows him meeting one of his smallest fans in the early 1970s.